name's Linda Rollo. I'm the Executive Director of Raise Your Hand for Kids. So thanks for coming today. We're so excited. This is a huge day for us. We, for the first time in Missouri history, we're going to put a ballot initiative forward that is 100% focused on children and on smoking cessation for pregnant moms and youth. We are really, really proud to announce that we've collected more than 320,000 signatures across the state of Missouri. So I want to thank all of you that helped us. We've got people here that have been with us for a long time. Raise Your Hand for Kids has been an organization for the past 2 years very focused on finding a public investment for early childhood education. As a lot of you know, that we do not make kids a priority in our state. Our funding levels for early childhood are very, very low. So this is a huge opportunity to turn that around. And we put together a policy that began really, and I brought this sign, this is to my basement. It's a little beat up, but this sign traveled around with us for an entire 2 years. And we went to 12 communities throughout Missouri. We had community conversations. We talked to lots of folks about their local unmet needs. We did surveys. We spent a lot of time crafting a policy that we think will really work for Missouri. So what we're putting forward to the voters is an opportunity to increase the tobacco tax by 60 cents, which after it's phased in after 4 years will generate more than $300 million annually for early childhood health and education and smoking cessation for pregnant moms. So that policy lays out 75 to 85% of the funds will be for early childhood education. 10 to 15% of the funds are for hospitals and healthcare organizations so they can deliver preventative health services for children ages birth through 5. And 5 to 10% of those funds will be for smoking cessation for pregnant moms and for youth. And for those of you that don't know, 1 in 6 women in Missouri smoke. And so many of our kids are smoking cigarettes. So we're really excited about being able to turn that around. This is going to be an awesome initiative for the whole state. It's going to create jobs. It's going to put kids on a new trajectory. It's going to really allow us to write a new narrative for Missouri. So we have some special guests here that can tell you more about the importance of early childhood education. So I want to introduce Jack Jensen. He's the retiring Executive Director of First Chance for Children. Yep. And Jack's been a huge champion here in Columbia, so he's going to tell you a little bit more about the initiative.
And I'll just hold this. Thank you so much for coming out. I've spent about 38 years working in some sort of public education setting, whether it was a 5th or 6th grade teacher, whether it was assistant principal at both elementary and middle schools, and then finally as an assistant superintendent of elementary education. As an educator, you're always looking for what's keeping kids from being successful. And what I've really come to the conclusion is, it's if we don't get kids to kindergarten ready to learn. One of my favorite educators, Jerry Deming, talks about what happens if you start a race behind. And imagine starting that race every day behind. That's what happens to our small children when they come to kindergarten not ready to learn. They're behind. And then I'd like you to think just a minute about what have you ever stuck with that you didn't do well pretty quickly. So often our kids are coming to school, a lot of their classmates are ready to learn, and they're experiencing not knowing their colors, not knowing their alphabet, those kind of things, and all of a sudden they're not feeling very good about themselves. And what we know about research is that when that happens early, it continues on. Those kids are so unlikely to read at 3rd grade on level. We know they have incredible issues when they transition to middle school. And probably the saddest thing is we know they have a much higher dropout rate. Here in Missouri, we really need to start taking care of these young children. And folks, this is the initiative that can do it. I have watched early childhood budgets cut year after year. I remember when PAT was cut by 60%. We're still not even close to funding PAT fully here in Missouri. I was here when we started an infant center here. We worked in conjunction with Nora Stewart. Those funds have been cut. If somebody can show me another plan that is better, that really truly can take care of kids this coming year, I'd love to see it. I just haven't. I would like to thank Nora Stewart. Where's Cheryl? Cheryl over here, the executive director. We called, we needed a place to have this news conference. She instantly opened her door. We thank her so much. You talk about a great morning. I came in. I've already heard from one young man that can spit on his head and on his hand. And I've also gotten a hug. Best way to start a day. I hope that you'll educate yourself on this petition. I hope we get your support. Thank you.
I want to also, Jack's been a great champion in the community, so we really appreciate all his service. I want to introduce Ms. Randall. She's the Executive Director of the Missouri School Boards Association.
Thank you, Linda, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Jack and Linda both said it very well. They laid out the issues that are before us as a state in terms of where we're putting our priorities. And the Missouri School Boards Association is very proud to support an initiative petition that puts children above cheap cigarettes. And Jack and Linda both talked about the statistics in Missouri. Every other state has figured this out. We need to look at the data. It speaks for itself. All of our surrounding states have figured this out. We're at the bottom of the barrel in terms of what we devote for resources to give our kids a fair chance in life. Jack mentioned all the studies that this isn't even debatable anymore. The studies have shown, they have proven, that investment in early childhood, it will reduce dropout rates. It will give a child a chance to be successful in education. It'll reduce our prison populations. And the list goes on and on and on. And Missouri is at the bottom tier of the states in terms of our investment in early childhood education. We also are the very bottom of the list in terms of cigarette tax. We need to fix that problem and get our priority state and let our children be a higher priority in our state than cheap cigarettes. So thank you, Linda.
Thanks, Melissa. I'd like to introduce Vernon Morris. Vernon Morris is here on behalf of the Missouri State NAACP. Thanks.
Again, my name is Vernon Morris, and I'm representing Missouri State NAACP in the absence of Rosemary Johnson today. She couldn't be here because of other issues that affect her family. But this is a $300 million investment in Missouri's children that's not subject to the legislature. This money will help and aid children of all ages from, I believe, birth to 5 years old, of course. And this isn't just money for St. Louis or Kansas City. This money will affect every child throughout the state of Missouri. This is the Ferguson Commission named early childhood education as a key issue that affects the region. And therefore, cheap cigarettes are also purchased by youth and poor, and they're the most vulnerable. So if we can remove cheap cigarettes, get them off the streets, and keep them out of the hands of our youth and poor, then it's going to benefit our children at the base level. So early childhood education is important, and this will affect so many children. It's so important, and the NAACP supports it fully.
And finally, I want to introduce Columbia resident, native, I think, John Wright, and he's a member of our board, and we're really happy to have him here today.
Excellent. Well, many Missourians and many Americans look around today and wonder for the first time if their kids are going to grow up to have it worse off than they have. Well, let's stand up and say, not on our watch. We're going to do something about it. We have so much economic potential all around our state, but if we want a modern, high-tech, high-wage, high-growth economy, we're going to have to go get it. It's not going to simply fall in our laps. In today's knowledge economy, there's no substitute for a high-quality education, and our competitors around the world know that. That's why countries like Germany and China have been aggressively ramping up their investments in early childhood education. That's why competing states like Georgia and Oklahoma have been ramping up their investments in early childhood education. They know that it will help empower their children to compete and create and invent and win in the 21st century. Here in the state of Missouri, we spend nearly $2 billion a year treating smoking-related illness, nearly half of which is taxpayer money to VA hospitals, Medicare, and Medicaid. That is not a formula for success. That is not the way to win. This initiative will help empower our children here in Missouri to grow up to be the next generation of entrepreneurs and scientists and doctors and nurses and teachers and civic leaders. In signing this petition, hundreds of thousands of Missourians have already come together to show their commitment to help ensure a brighter and stronger Missouri future. Together, let's move Missouri forward. Thank you.